I think I know what's happening. Okay. Maybe? Anyway, sorry, I was switching over actually because I wanted to say thank you for resubscribing to POW. But now I gotta figure out what's going on with my camera. Oh, I see what's going on. Yay! Okay, I think I fixed it. Well, yes, I can see that I fixed it. So, I'm skipping the opening. I'm gonna try, I feel like 3 straight routes where I play the opening before every stream is probably enough, and jumping right in is not the worst. Thank you so much to POW for resubscribing. Oh, by the way, now that TwitchCon Amsterdam is done, I have been trying to keep a closer eye on the TwitchCon Twitter and other pages. Oh yeah, the prologue's the same every time to POW. But I was gonna to finish my previous thought. I've been keeping an eye out because I feel like tickets are probably gonna go on sale soon, like within the next month at least, for TwitchCon San Diego, of course. Yes, so I'm excited. Yeah. But still, I'm very excited for it. Alright. So yes, you missed nothing with the prologue. It's the exact same prologue as always. And this will also be chapter 2 is gonna... chapter 1 should mostly be the same. Chapter 2 is next week is where it's really gonna start changing. But I like starting back from the beginning, just to, you know, give people a reminder, kind of enable people to jump back in, that kind of thing. So. Alright, so we are right at the beginning of chapter 1, I think. Wait, was that... The chaos madness! No, I want to load from there. Okay. I usually like to do the chapter title card, but chaos and madness occurred when I tried that this time, so we're gonna just pick right up from chapter 1, whatever it's called. It's the same one. Yes, this is gonna be the Fritz route. So things will start getting different, yeah, so next week, because I'll be doing the second half of chapter 1 next week. So yeah, beginning from the beginning of chapter 1. When I open my eyes, I am still on the streets. I must have fallen asleep. But the nightmare continues. I am cold in my rags. I hold myself for warmth, willing some of the cold away, but fail. My feet are numb and in pain, caked in a dirt that I have gathered from walking barefoot around town. Oh, fair enough to POW. Thank you for the hanging out. I'm gonna just take a quick second because it's been bothering me because I want my camera to be there. I think maybe I want it to do that. Chaos madness. I've caused chaos and madness. You know, this time I did before the stream go and fuss with my camera settings, and then I'm just not satisfied with them. Oh, and you know what else is not helping? I forgot about my ring light. Alright. Alright. Back in. Noblewoman A. Well, there's a frightful sight. Noblewoman B. Beggar probably thought she could try her luck with the nobility that live around here. Noblewoman A. Ah, just look at how ragged she looks. Lucette. Silence. Noblewoman A. Shocked. What are you looking at? Lucette. At 2 women that lack the basic manners of a noble upbringing. Noblewoman B. Silence, girl! Do you know who you're talking to? Lucette. No, and I don't care. Noblewoman B. Shocked. What nerve! Noblewoman A. Let's just go. There's no reason to stoop to a commoner's level. Lucette, thinking to herself. I will remember you, and once I break this curse, I will make you regret your words. I become acutely aware of the fact that I have not eaten anything for almost a day. I have been sitting here, thinking on the new mess that is my life. Lucette, thinking to herself. But moping around will not break my curse. Prying will not help either. I should find that witch first, but how? I have no idea where she is. Out loud. Delora. Thinking to herself. I swear I will make you regret doing this to me. When I find you, Silence. Out loud. I will find food first. Lucette, thinking to herself. Is this all the king thinks I am worth? Man. Leave, girl! A dirty peasant like you has no place in this restaurant. Lucette. But why? I can pay. Man. Find another place. You're scaring away my customers. Lucette. Am I not a customer? Man. Shoo! There's nothing for you here. Lucette, thinking to herself. He just swatted me away like a fly. The nerve! Sensing that this will get me nowhere, I ball my hands into fists and walk away. I get the same treatment at the next 3 restaurants I try. I am treated as something less than dirt, like my money has no real value. Lucette, out loud. I am the crown princess. They have no right to turn me away like this. I have been eating stale bread. Anything to keep the hunger at bay. The bread barely helps. Lucette, silence. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice a small bakery. There are croissants on display that make my mouth water. Slowly, I begin to make my way over there. Lucette. Ow! My feet ache with every step. They look and feel even worse than before. Lucette, thinking to herself. If only I had enough coins for a pair of shoes. But food is more important. If the rags that I am wearing and the pouch of money are all that I have, then I need to prioritize. Lucette, thinking to herself. And I will die before I beg. Out loud. 2 croissants. Shop owner. You'll need to pay, girl. There are no free handouts here. I take a coin from my pouch and hand it to her. Lucette. This should be more than enough. The shop owner stares at the coin before reluctantly taking it. She hands me 2 croissants in a paper bag. Shop owner. I will not ask where you got those coins. Lucette. Silence. Are you implying that I stole them? Shop owner. How else would a beggar like you get that amount of coin? Now be off with you, child. I won't have you scaring away any other customers. Without a word, I turn and start to walk away from the woman. Lucette, thinking to herself. So this is the goodness of the people of Angiel. I take a bite out of one of the croissants, cringing a little at the dryness. Yeah, Tapao. Man A. Hey, girl! Lucette, thinking to herself. What now? Man B. We saw you at that shop. Want to share how you got your coins there? Lucette, silence. Excuse me. Shocked. Man A. Look at her, brushing us off like she's royalty or something. Lucette. Let me go! Man B. You ain't no better than us. Now be a good girl and hand over that pouch. The man on my left grabs at my pouch and attempts to yank it away from me. Lucette, thinking to herself. I will not let these brutes take anything from me. I elbow the man in the stomach, then aim a kick at the other man's shin. I have an opening, and I take it. Man A. What? I pull myself free and begin to run as fast as I can. Man B. Hey! Lucette, thinking to herself. Where do I go? I'm not familiar with the streets at all. It's highly likely I'm just going to hit a dead end. I'm going to randomly pick right. Because it doesn't matter, neither one actually affects this route. Boy. Hey, this way! Lucette. You're... Waltz. No time to talk, princess. Lucette. How do you know who I am? Man A. There's another one! Stop running, you two! Lucette. Shocked. Waltz. Come on! The boy grabs my wrist and pulls me after him. He takes off with a sudden burst of speed, and then I am running even faster than I just was. I am not entirely convinced following him is a good idea, but at least the boy seems to have a better sense of direction than me. Lucette. Oh! Our running causes rocks in the pathway to come loose, and before I notice them in my path, I step down hard on them. A sharp pain shoots up into my foot, and I collapse to the ground. Lucette. It hurts! Waltz. Princess! I try to stand, but the pain in my feet is unbearable. I fall back down into the dirt with a gasp. Lucette. I can't. Man A. We've got you now. Man B. Just hand over your coins and neither of you will get hurt. Waltz. I won't let you touch her. Man B. Ha, says the little boy. Another man. Well, well, well. What is this ghastly sight before me? Two adults threatening a child and a lady? How very ungentlemanly. Man A. What are the likes of you even doing around this neighborhood? You, is that still Man A? I can't remember if it was him talking before or not. Whatever. Man A. You asking to get fleeced? Man. Asking? Perhaps I am in the mood for a scuffle. The nobleman brandishes his sword, his expression confident, maybe even cocky. Man. Show me what you've got, sirs. And please, don't bore me. Lucette thinking to herself, who are these people? Man B. I ain't dealing with this for the money. He's got a sword. Man A. What? Come back here, you coward. The two of us can take him. Man. I think your friend has the right idea. I'm not the type to show mercy. Man A. Shocked. This is way too much trouble for a little gold. Waltz. You're late. Man. Sorry, kid. You know how hard it is for me to be invisible around here. Waltz. Wait, what did you just call me? Man. At ease, small one. Lucette, thinking to herself. These two know each other? I don't even know what's going on anymore. I feel ill. My head is pounding and my feet feel simultaneously like they are frozen and on fire. My stomach rumbles, the hunger coming back with a vengeance. Lucette thinking to herself. My body feels light. Waltz. Hey, princess! Princess! Man. Calm down. Parfait will be able to help her. But for now, we need to move, before anyone else sees us. Waltz. Yeah. Waltz. Don't worry, you're safe now. Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself. Everything is fading. Sorry. Lucette. I guess out loud. A dream? And we have another flashback to young Lucette and her mother, who is generally very emotionally abusive. Mother. What is that in your hands, Lucette? Young Lucette. It was hurt. I just wanted to help it, but it died. It's all my fault. Mother. It is not your fault, my love. It died because it was weak. Young Lucette. But... Mother. This is the world, Lucette. Only the strong survive. The weak get cast aside to die. You are not weak. You are strong, my crown princess. And you do not cry. Now wipe your tears. I don't want to see you cry again. Do you understand? Young Lucette. Yes. Mother. Now get rid of that thing and wash your hands. Young Lucette. Silence. Mother. Did you not hear me, child? Young Lucette. Yes, Mother. Right, so typical disclaimer. There is nothing actually wrong with crying. It is okay to cry. good and healthy for you sometimes. Anyway, Lucette. Silence. Girl. Oh, you're awake. Lucette. Where am I? Girl. Ah, well, Lucette. This isn't my room. Shocked. My hand flies to my chest, where the little glass slipper hangs from my neck. Lucette, thinking to herself, oh, hello, Ice Starmie. So we're just, get a little way of the way into... I mean, obviously you can tell I just got to the point in chapter 1 where Lucette has reached the march end. Lucette, thinking to herself, still here. Girl, are you okay, miss? Lucette, thinking to herself, this girl is the maid that tore Zelora's dress. The one I fired for her clumsiness. Girl, miss? Lucette, thinking to herself, to think that I would meet her again here like this. Silence. Girl, Lucette, leave me alone. Girl, silence. Lucette, silence. Girl, right, of course. Here's some salve I made for you. It'll help with the pain. Lucette, now what? Delora, haven't thought at all, have you, Ice Princess? Lucette, you! Suddenly there she is. Delora stands before me with a snide smile, looking happy with herself. Lucette, thinking to herself, she is the cause of everything that I have been through. All of the pain, heartache, and hunger. It is her fault. I try to stand, thinking to give the witch a piece of my mind, but as soon as my feet touch the floor, pain shoots up my legs. I end up falling back to the bed. Lucette, ow! Delora, you should be more grateful to the girl you just scared away. She's been taking care of you for the past 2 days. Lucette, 2 days? Thinking to herself, I've been passed out for 2 days? I am suddenly vibrating with anger. Lucette, remove the curse. Now. Delora, ha! Do you think you can just command me to remove the curse in your best princess voice? Lucette, what do you want? Gold? Delora, what I want is worth more than all the gold you could summon in Angiel, princess. Besides, haven't you read your fairy tales? The caster cannot take a curse back. You need to focus on breaking the curse yourself if you want your life back. Lucette, Mother burned the books before I could read more than 1 or 2 of them. Thinking to herself, I do not think either involved curses, just genies and trading away your voice for legs. Lady, it's good to see you're awake, princess. Delora, Parfait, should you really be up and about? Parfait, don't fuss, I'm feeling much better. Lucette, are you a witch as well? Parfait, oh no, my name is Parfait, and I am a fairy. Lucette, silence. Thinking to herself, a witch and a fairy in one room, being friendly with one another? Impossible. Delora, oh, look at her face! You weren't expecting that at all, were you, princess? Lucette, what is going on? Parfait, I'm sure you have many questions, princess. Lucette, how do you know I am the princess? Delora, don't be silly, she's a fairy, of course she knows. Parfait, I promise we'll do the best to answer your questions. Do our best. Yeah, Tapao, yes. Delora, I hear that Ice Starmie was saying that, Delora and Lucette have, like, some really good bonding in, I want to say this route or the next route, and I want to say it was this one, and I'm really looking forward to that. And also, I think you might have missed Tapao, like, that in Rumpel's route, Delora gave this really good and fairly heartfelt, like, apology, that is, like, you know, I'm so sorry for saying these things about you, I knew that you had good in you, I always did, And it's just like, I want her to do more of that and less of the high-key snark that is really kind of mean. Oh no, okay, you did catch it. But yeah, I like Delora, honestly, but I do hardcore agree that she's pretty unreasonably awful to Lucette in the beginning. Yeah. Oh, awesome, Ice Starmie. Good to hear it. Fritz's root has the best Delora. I will look forward to that. Anyway, parfait. I promise we'll do our best to answer your questions. Lucette, silence. Thinking to herself, I don't even know where to start. I can't remember if I went through the questions last time or not, so I'll just go through them pretty quickly. Parfait. What would you like to know? So, yeah, Ice Starmie, that's pretty much exactly how I feel. Like, I love her, but yeah, she is really excessively harsh, especially at the beginning. Right, so parfait. What would you like to know? And I'll have Lucette ask, why was I cursed? Delora, seriously? You're really going to ask that? Lucette, I wouldn't have asked if I knew the answer. Delora, you have such a temper on you. Very well, this one's got a simple answer. It's because you're a cold-hearted, cruel, wicked princess who deserves to be punished. Parfait. Delora, a curse is the only way to force you to change your horrid ways. Yeah, see, like, I don't disagree with this. I mean, I do disagree. Like, there are other things they could have done, but since they didn't do any of those other things and they put it off this long, it may have been that the curse was the best option they had left to get Lucette to, like, you know, change and grow. But, like, she's Delora. Like, you're, like, not only, she's not just harsh, she's, like, laying it on real thick and, like, kind of lying. Like, she doesn't actually think that. Right, Ice Starmie? Lucette needs more therapy than a curse. Sadly, fantasy settings didn't often have psychologists. They were not really a thing until modern times. Parfait. Delora, you could have put that more nicely. Delora, I'm pretty sure I was already being nice. Lucette, change? Why do I need to change? Delora, are you completely unaware of how heartless you are to other people? The coldness you show to your stepfamily and your father? Parfait. The way you treat Princess Emily? Lucette. Why would they need to be treated any differently? Delora. You need to prove that you have some goodness in you, Princess. Some smidge of kindness. Lucette. Why? People only show you kindness when they want something from you. The instant they get what they want, they'll just throw you away. Parfait. Silence. What else would you like to know? Yeah, I mean, there's just not really a good excuse for, like, how like, awful Delora is to her in this first bit, but is what it is. Alright, we'll keep going down the list. How do I break the curse? Delora. The necklace you've got is one of Cinderella's glass slippers. To break the curse, you must get the second slipper. Complete the pair. Lucette. And how do I do that? Parfait. By doing 3 good deeds. Lucette. What? Delora. It's a very easy thing to do. At least, for someone who knows how to be good. Lucette, thinking to herself. 3 good deeds? What does that even mean? I wouldn't even know where to start. Parfait. Take heart, princess. Goodness is innate in everyone. Delora. Are you sure that's the case with this one? I mean, like, literally, later in the story, Delora actively states that she knew it was, but I guess, you know, the only excuse I can come up with is, or not even excuse, but explanation, is that Delora really felt that Lucette needed a dose of harsh reality. to like wake her up and get her to like to kind of shake her up and get her to change her worldview, but it's still just it really feels like both Delora and Parfait are just kind of floundering around with like no clue what to actually do here. Parfait. Delora, you are not helping. Delora. I'm a witch, and I think I have more goodness in my big toe than she has in her entire body. Oh, Artemisia, you're making a really good point that I had never considered. They kind of are good cop, bad copping her. I never thought of it that way. Parfait. Now you're just being mean. Lucette. Silence. Parfait. For every good deed you accomplish, you will get a piece of the glass slipper. When you've gotten all 3, you'll complete the pair and the curse will break. Simple. Delora. I suggest you start by polishing that attitude of yours. Okay. What else would you like to know? What happens if I don't break the curse? Delora. I think you know the answer to that one already, Princess. Lucette. Silence. I guess the answer is just nothing ever changes, because they act like Lucette knows the answer. I'm not 100% sure I do. I just assume that the answer is she is cursed forever. Alright. Why are you 2 working together? Parfait. To answer that, we'll have to give you a bit of a history lesson. Delora. Oh, I've got this. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, there were 2 crystals. Parfait. Dramatics aside, there is one crystal in the kingdom called the Crystallum Lucis. It is powered by happiness and love. The other is the Crystallum Tenebrarum, powered by fear and anger. The strongest of the witches is the Tenebrarum bearer. The strongest of the fairies is the Lucis bearer. Delora. Parfait is the Lucis bearer. I take in Parfait's frail and sickly appearance. Lucette, thinking to herself, she is the strongest fairy? Parfait. The Great War greatly damaged me. My powers are a fraction of what they used to be. And with no child, I have no successor to my burden. Lucette. What does a bearer do? Delora. The bearers regulate the energy of the crystals and keep the balance between darkness and light. Parfait. For centuries, the fairies and witches lived in harmony with the humans of the kingdom. Delora. Until a certain human decided to be a pest. Lucette. Who was he? Parfait. I knew him as Hans Gabriel Grimm. He wrote the fairy tales. Delora. And he started the feud between the witches and the fairies in the process. I mean, Delora, I would say he started the feud between the humans and the witches, which caused the feud between the fairies and witches. Lucette. How could a single person have so much power? Parfait. It was the power of his words. In Grimm's stories, the witches were always evil. The humans naturally grew to fear and hate them. They began to hunt them. Lucette. Didn't the witches fight back? Delora. We aren't allowed to use our powers to cause harm. But that all changed when the Tenebrarum bearer decided revenge was more important than our promise. Parfait. The witches took over the kingdom. They created the fairy tale curse to spread even more sadness and anger, to fill the human heart with negative emotions. All to fuel the power of the Tenebrarum. The delicate balance of harmony between the crystals was broken. The witches and the Tenebrarum grew far stronger than they were ever meant to be. We had no choice but to fight. And then the Great War happened. The Tenebrarum bearer was eventually defeated. The Great War was ended with the help of an unexpected ally, but... Delora. Many lives were lost. The good witches suffered horribly. We still have to stay hidden in hopes of having any kind of peace. Lucette. Are you trying to make me believe that there are good witches? Parfait. The Tenebrarum can poison a heart and mind into darkness and cruelty. The witches put themselves at risk in working with the Tenebrarum in maintaining harmony. Some, inevitably, are corrupted. Delora. Many good witches were corrupted during the war. Most remain that way. Parfait. Many do not believe it, but witches can be just as kind as fairies. Lucette. And yet it wasn't a fairy that cursed me. Delora. I've done good by cursing you, princess. You'll thank me when you've broken it. Parfait. Delora was not corrupted by the Tenebrarum. She is as good as they come. I said it before, I'll say it again. Nothing will ever convince me that Parfait and Delora are not dating. Parfait. Hopefully you'll come to see that for yourself. Lucette. I doubt it. Delora. Apart from my own inherent goodness, Parfait and I are working together because we have a common goal. Lucette. Which is? Parfait. To restore the balance between darkness and light. Lucette, thinking to herself. 3 good deeds and I get my life back. Yeah, to Pow, I don't disagree. Lucette, thinking to herself. Easier said than done. Out loud. You said Cinderella, didn't you? Didn't she just go to a ball and find a prince? What does doing good have to do with that? Delora. Going to a ball, finding a prince, it's all so old-fashioned. No fun in that. Parfait. Cinderella is a girl with a pure heart. She's always willing to help others, even when they are cruel to her. I also remain really uncomfortable with that interpretation of Cinderella. Anyway. Lucette, silence. Parfait. Anyway, I have brought some clothes for you. I'll leave them on the table. We'll be waiting outside. There are some people I'd like you to meet. Lucette, silence. I cannot believe this. I look down at my neatly bandaged feet. I have to admit that while sore, they are nowhere near as painful as they had been 2 days before. Girl. Here's some salve I made for you. It'll help with the pain. Lucette. Why would she even care? I was the reason she lost her job at the palace. Oh. She probably doesn't remember me as the princess. But still, she has no reason to do such things for me. I ignore the salve for the time being and gingerly stand up, testing my feet for pain. The injury is definitely healing. I slowly walk over to the table and change into the clothing that has been left there. Huh. You know, Starmie, that's a fair point. Like, it's, kind of weird how Hildir was winning the war, because as far as we know, Hildir only had some witchy allies, but the other side had humans, fairies, and witches. I mean, on the other hand, Parfait just... Yeah, okay, even if you say the Lucis was weak, there were witches who were against Hildir. If the Tenebrarum was strong, these witches would be strong too. It might have just been that they didn't have enough witches, because, like, if the witches were, like, the strongest that, Parfait and everyone's side had, and they only had a handful of good witches, versus, like, an army's worth of corrupted witches, like, the numbers could easily have not been in their favor, and if you then assume, and humans are pretty, we saw in Rumple's Root, humans are pretty powerless against powerful magic. And, I mean, it's also pretty strongly implied that, like, Parfait took a really long time to actually get involved, so that also could have had, like, a negative effect on the status of the war. Like, I mean, I bet that's what actually, like, I mean, maybe there will be more explained in Waltz's Root or even Fritz's Root, but, like, I wouldn't be surprised if what it was that humans and fairies were losing, Parfait was dithering over whether to get involved, and then she felt like her hand was forced, and she stepped up, and then when she stepped up, that's how they won the war. That's my theory. Oh, also T'Pau makes a really good point. Evil tends to win because it's willing to do worse things. I also think that is a really good point. Anyway. The dress is nowhere near as luxurious as the ones that I wear in the palace, but still it is far improved from my rags. Lucette. All my life I've never had to lift a finger, and now... Thinking to herself, I will not let them see how much they have rattled me. I refuse to break. Out loud. Just watch me. I will free myself from this curse. Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself, what is this place? There are several people in the room chatting amiably with each other. I noticed the girl that had left me the salve by the counter, serving drinks. But as soon as the people in the room notice me, the room falls into immediate silence. Lucette. Silence. Woman A. Well, look what we have here. The Ice Princess herself. Lucette. Thinking to herself, huh? They know who I am? Woman B. I didn't think it was true. Man. Cursed for her cold-heartedness. Woman B. As to be expected. Lucette. You remember who I am, and yet you still treat me like this? Woman A. Well, you aren't really a princess anymore, are you? You're one of us now, girl. Lucette. Silence. Parfait. Everyone, please. You shouldn't be treating a newcomer like this. Princess, let me apologize. They meant no offense. That's another thing that annoys me about Parfait. Parfait, they absolutely meant they absolutely meant offense. You saying that they didn't doesn't make it true that they didn't. Apologize for them, sure, but, like, don't try to pretend that they didn't, like, that they weren't picking a fight intentionally. I cannot believe that. Not when the people Parfait is referring to simply smirk and shrug as I meet their gazes. Lucette. What is this place? Parfait. Welcome to the Marchen Tavern, a home for those with the fairy tale curse. Delora. You make it sound like some kind of holiday house. Parfait. Don't ruin my moment, Delora. Lucette. Marchen Tavern? Parfait. The Marchen was built 3 years ago when the number of cursed in Angel continued to rise. The goal is to gather those affected so that they might help each other break their curse. Of course, I am also here to provide help as necessary. Only the cursed and those allied with our cause can stay here. The evil and the wicked can never find this place. Lucette, thinking to herself, most of the people here are cursed? Out loud, how come these people remember who I am? Parfait, the cursed are not affected by the conditions of someone else's curse. Your condition is simple. Everyone has forgotten you are the crown princess. But because these people here are cursed, they still remember your title. Delora, it goes without saying that fairies and witches are also not affected. Parfait, come, princess, let me introduce you to the few boarders we have at the Marchen. Parfait beckons the serving girl over. This is Annis. She helps out in the kitchen and does most of the cooking. Delora, I'm sure you understand why she's working here now. Lucette, silence. Delora, I believe she deserves an apology. Annis, Miss Delora, what are you talking about? Delora, don't worry your sweet little head over it. You don't remember what this ice princess did to you. Annis, huh? Lucette, I have nothing to apologize for. Thinking to herself, clumsiness does not befit a palace maid. I only did what was necessary. Annis, well, it's nice to meet you, princess. I'm Annis Willow. I hope we get along. Lucette, silence. Annis, silence. Lucette, silence. Annis, Delora, really? This is how you're gonna start doing good? Yeah, Ice Army. Not only did they mean offense, but Parfait knows perfectly well that they did. And yet, she's still like that, TM. Lucette, I don't believe I asked for your opinion. Parfait, please, you two, no fighting. Lucette, silence. I hold my tongue as Parfait leads me to two people whose faces are incredibly familiar. They are faces I have seen in the palace before. Parfait, this is... Lucette, Jurien Valiant and Garland Belrot. Jurien, shocked. How did you know? Lucette, both of you were in the Order of Caldera. Jurien, silence. Garland, that's right. Lucette, thinking to herself, they were two of Sir Alcaster's best knights. It was a big surprise when they both left a year ago. I only found out recently that it was because they acted against Sir Alcaster's orders. They were stripped of their titles and dishonorably discharged from the service. Out loud, what are you two doing here? Garland, we help the fairies. Parfait, they and Annis are exceptions and are allowed in this tavern without the curse. Jurien and Garland lent us their strength to help protect the Marchen. Lucette, protect? Delora, from the witches. They'd do anything to make sure their curses remain unbroken. Lucette, and what about you? Delora, I am an exception. Also, I'm good. You keep forgetting the good part. Parfait, remember, not all witches are evil. Delora, your curse is a test. Lucette, a test? Yeah, see, like, if there's phrasing that Delora could have used from the get-go, that would have been less awful, but... Delora, originally the wicked were cursed so that they could learn to change. Their curses were meant to teach them a lesson. I'm hoping your curse will teach you a lesson too, Ice Princess. I really am only trying to help you. Lucette, I don't need you to show me how to change. I just want my life back. Delora, well, to do that, you'll have to break your curse. Lucette, silence. Parfait, try and make some friends, Princess. They might be able to help you break your curse. Delora, oh, I'd love to hang around and watch the princess try to be friendly. Parfait, we have work to do, Delora. Delora, fine. Try not to make any more enemies, Princess. The instant Parfait and Delora leave the room, the temperature drops several degrees. Now that I am alone, I feel the cold stares return. Disgust. Contempt. As if I am the reason they are cursed and have to take refuge in the Marchen in the first place. Lucette, silence. Thinking to herself, make friends? All I've ever had are my dolls. I've never needed friends. I will break this curse on my own. Out loud. I was told that it was rude to stare. One man suddenly stands up, the anger apparent on his face. His hands clench and unclench into fists as he glares at me pointedly. Jurien and Garland place themselves in front of me, shielding me from the man. Jurien, you know the rules. What happened in the past stays in the past. Garland, and no one is allowed to harm anyone else in the Marchen. If you cannot comply, you are no longer welcome here. Artemisia, fair, yeah. Man. No matter. The Ice Princess will get what's coming to her. He throws one last glare my way before sitting down again. Jurien, break the rules and you'll get what's coming to you. That goes for everyone here. Jurien's tone is cold and firm. There is no doubt she means what she says. Lucette, thinking to herself, so these are the great knights of the Order of Caldera. The Marchen begins to settle down, and everyone eventually goes back to their conversations and meals. I walk towards an empty table, realizing that I am being deliberately ignored. I become immersed in my thoughts as I sit down. One thought, however, comes to me immediately. Lucette, thinking to herself, they hate me. They hate me somehow, when I've only ever left the palace twice in my life. How did this happen? The only people who treated me with any respect were Annis, Jurian, and Garland. Lucette, thinking to herself. Is it because they cannot remember who I am? Maybe being in the Marchen is not such a good idea. I doubt anyone here wants to help me break my curse. They'd probably rather see me suffer under its weight. 3 good deeds? How am I supposed to complete 3 when I do not even know if I can even accomplish 1? Beautiful lady, may I join you? I look up and stare in shock at the beautiful lady from the toy shop. Her beauty still manages to take my breath away. Lucette, thinking to herself, what is she doing here? Out loud, You were in the toy shop. Beautiful lady, oh yes, I was there picking up some items for a friend. I am humbled you still remember me. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Miss Karma. Lucette, your name is Karma? Karma, a suitable name for someone as beautiful as me, no? Lucette, silence. Waltz, Karma, your narcissism is going to scare the princess away. Lucette, oh, you are that magician boy. Waltz, boy? Karma, oh, how appropriate, boy. Waltz, call me that one more time and I'll ruin that pretty face of yours. Karma, shocked. You would hit a lady? How savage! Waltz, silence. Lucette, silence. Waltz. Anyway, I'm Waltz Cresswell. I have the Neverland curse. What about you, princess? What's your fairy tale curse? Lucette, silence. Does everyone share what their curse is? Waltz. We talk about it freely in the Marchen. The whole point is helping each other break our curses, after all. Hard to do if we keep our fairy tales quiet. He pauses, then narrows his eyes slightly. Well, some people keep their fairy tales a secret. He eyes Karma briefly, cocking an eyebrow. The smile never leaves Karma's face. Lucette. Has anyone managed to break their curse? Waltz. I've been told a few have. Lucette. A few? That's not very reassuring. Waltz. Well, at least the curses can be broken. Lucette. I cannot particularly say that reassures me either. Karma. What ails you, darling? Is it your curse? You can talk to us about it. Tell us what it is. Lucette. Silence. Cinderella. Karma. Oh, goodness. Cinderella. Hey, Starmie, you're right. Yeah, they're both blatantly pretending to not have the context about her curse when they actually... I mean, to be fair, I can see it as they want to have a conversation with her on equal footing and, like, being like, oh, yes, we already know all about you, and your curse would have left her very uncomfortable and wrong-footed. So, like, I can understand why they would pretend not to. Waltz. That explains the nature of your curse. Only, it's been reversed, hasn't it? Karma. Riches to rags. Lucette. That's one way of putting it. Waltz. Karma, you're not helping. You really are better off ignoring him, princess. He mostly speaks nonsense. Lucette. Silence. He? Karma. Silence. Waltz. Silence. Parfait. Princess? Parfait's voice takes me by surprise. I hadn't even noticed her entering the room again. Parfait. May I speak with you? I'd like you to meet someone, though I'm sure you already know him quite well. Rod. Silence. Lucette. Rod? Rod. So you really are cursed. Parfait. I was the one that gave Sebi to Rod so that he still had some way to voice his opinions. Lucette. Sebi? Parfait. Short for Sebastian. Cute, isn't it? Sebi. It's nice to meet you, princess! Sebi's voice changes when it greets me. The tone it uses is lower whenever it speaks for Rod. Perhaps that is what Rod's voice actually sounds like? Lucette, thinking to herself. Wait, if he remembers me, does that mean... Rod. The mermaid's curse. Lucette. What? Rod. That is my curse. Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself. Rod has been mute all this time because he is cursed? Out loud. Does everyone else know? Rod. Obviously, they're my family. Lucette. Even the king? Rod. He knows as well. Lucette. So, I am the only one you never told? Rod. I didn't think you'd particularly care either way. Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself. He is not wrong. Yet I cannot believe I did not know. I was left out once again. Lucette, out loud. What are you doing here? Parfait. I have been trying to help Rod with his curse. That is why he comes to the Marchen from time to time. Rod. But I don't even want... Silence. Anyway, I only came here today to confirm that you were truly cursed. I wanted to see it with my own eyes. It was a big surprise when I woke up one day and you weren't in the palace. An even bigger surprise when I found out no one remembered you. Lucette, thinking to herself. It's been days since I was cursed. I wonder... Out loud. How are things in the palace? Rod. Livelier. Happier. Lucette. Happier? Rod. I have never seen my family happier than they are now. I'd say it's a good thing you aren't a princess anymore. Lucette, shocked, thinking to herself, I'd always thought Rod didn't really care about me regardless, but this is the truth? Lucette, so I have to be cursed for you to open up about how you truly feel. Rod, the only reason I didn't say anything earlier was because Emmeline didn't want me to. I'm happier too, now that you're gone. I don't have to pretend to like you anymore. Lucette. Silence. Rod. I'm going to return to the palace now. Lucette. Silence. Out loud. I'm gone, and they're all... happier. Parfait. Your very existence has been erased in the palace. They've never known you. That doesn't mean they're happy without you. Lucette, thinking to herself. Even the king. What did I expect? Parfait. Silence. Lucette, out loud. Why did you bring me here? The people in the Marchen, they... Parfait. I shouldn't have left you alone in there. I'm sorry. Lucette. You knew how they felt about me. Parfait. Silence. Lucette. What have I ever done to them? Parfait. Now isn't the right time to explain. Lucette. When will it ever be the right time? Parfait. So many things have already happened to you. I need you to be patient, Lucette. Lucette. Silence. Delora. Has the prince already left? Parfait. Yes, he has. Princess, we'll talk about this later. For now, you must focus on breaking your curse. Lucette. Silence. Yeah, T'Pau, you're not wrong. Lucette absolutely has a point. They absolutely knew exactly how everyone felt about Lucette and still left her there on her own, with no context for why everyone hates her. Delora. Did I miss something? Parfait. No. Delora. Silence. Right. Lucette, thinking to herself. Maybe the fairy is right. I don't think I'm ready to find out how I made so many people hate me. Delora. Well, Parfait, I think it's time we get down to business. What should we do with her? Lucette. What are you talking about now? Delora. You, of course. You've got nowhere to go, right? Lucette. Silence. Thinking to herself. She is right. I think back to the days I spent on the street and shiver. Lucette, thinking to herself. I will do anything so long as I don't have to go back there. Parfait. The princess can stay at the Marchen with me and the rest of my boarders. Lucette, shocked. I'd almost forgotten what hope felt like. Parfait. But you'll have to work in exchange for a room. I celebrated too soon. Lucette. What? Parfait. Magic has its limitations, just like anything else. Money doesn't appear out of thin air, not even for a fairy. The Marchen doesn't attract many customers since only the cursed and a few others can enter. I sell my potions here and there, but I have several hungry mouths to feed, and my funds are tight. Lucette. I thought fairies lived in luxury. Parfait, are you broke? Parfait, shocked. Delora. Ouch, even the Ice Princess can tell. Lucette. And yet you still take people in? Delora. That's always been how Parfait operates. She's good-natured to a fault. Yeah, you know... I think Delora's not wrong. Parfait is good-natured to a fault. And the fault is that she becomes extremely passive. It would have been much better if Parfait didn't know about Rod's curse, because then it begs the question, did she tell him about how he could save himself? But it doesn't make sense in his route to think that she told him, because he believed absolutely no one could help him and refused Lusette's help many times. But, like, why would she tell him? Yeah, no, I really think the problem is that Parfait is passive to a fault, and sometimes, and she way too often errs on the side of taking no action. At least that's my read on her. Anyway. Parfait. I am told suffocating beneath my debt will be what kills me. Lucette. Why don't you just leave? I assume you make enough to take care of yourself. Parfait. Leave someone who's in need of help? I could never. Delora. And that, princess, is how goodness works. Okay, Delora, you say that, but we literally just went through in Rumpel's route how helping others at the expense of yourself is also bad. Lucette, thinking to herself, how goodness works? Parfait. It's not as if I accept freeloaders. All my boarders help me run the Marchen and do errands. Okay, to be fair, her making that point does go to show that she is doing better than Rumpel was, because Rumpel refused to take money even from people who could pay it. So, and whereas Parfait is like, yes, I give room and board, but I also employ people for room and board. Which is like, yeah, okay, that's a fair way to do it. I still think that they could have found a better job for Lucette. We'll get there in a minute, but... anyway, all my boarders help me run the Marchen and do errands. Delora. The princess has never worked a day in her life. I doubt she'll be useful. Parfait. If karma can be useful, anyone can. Delora. I have yet to see karma be anything but useless. Lucette. Silence. Parfait. Princess, you're more than welcome to stay if you're willing to help out. Delora. It's the least you can do in exchange for a roof over your head and 3 meals a day. Oh, and shoes. Lucette. Silence. Do I even have a choice? I toss and turn in bed, unable to fall asleep. The mattress is hard and the sheets are itchy. Nothing at all like the bed I had in the palace. Lucette. What I would give for my old bed again. For any of the comforts of home. I miss my dolls. Garland. Lady Parfait! Lady Parfait! I sit up immediately. Lucette. Silence. What is going on? I leave my room to investigate. Some of the other Marchen boarders, Waltz, Jurian, and Garland, are sitting on the settee looking anxious. Lucette. What's happening? Jurian. Sorry, did we wake you? Lucette. No, but the noises Garland was making would have woken the dead. Garland. Jurian and I found an injured man while we were doing our rounds. We brought him here. Lucette. An injured man? Wait, what were you doing outside? It's almost 1 a.m. Right, exactly! Yeah, like... Lucette is educated. Somebody has to keep the books. That's what they should have had Lucette do. Instead, they make her sweep with an enchanted broom that, like, forces her to sweep until the floor is done, no matter how blistered her hands get. It's a little messed up. I'm like, nah, seriously, you could have taken advantage of her education and exactly had her help with the books. Yeah, and like, she doesn't even need to actually do the sweeping. The broom can sweep by its dang self. It feels like another misguided attempt to teach her a lesson, and I'm like, she didn't need to learn how to do cleaning type chores. Like, you could have, like, taken advantage of her other skills. But, oh well. Jurian. Nothing you need to worry about. Waltz. Lady Parfait and Annis are tending to the man now. Lucette, thinking to herself. These people, will they just help anyone they find on the streets? What if this man is dangerous? Waltz. Do you think the witches got to him? Jurian. It's possible. We'll have to find out when he wakes up. The next day, Parfait reveals that the man only suffered minor head injuries. Alright, so by the way, my plan, I think, is I'm gonna go through Rumpel's introduction, and then once there's a scene transition again after that, I will call it there, and then we'll pick back up next week. Because last week, I think I, like, stopped it right before his introduction, because we were going into his route, but this time, I actually think it makes sense to handle all of the love interest introductions in the first 2 weeks of the storyline, and then, so next week will be the sort of slow launch into actually Fritz's route. Yeah, Artemisia! There is a difference between humility and humiliation. That's a really good way to put it. And they are leaning way too hard on the latter when they could have been doing more with the former. I mean, in all of the routes so far, it has eventually worked out that Lucette has, like, properly learned what they were actually wanting her to learn, but, like, these opening bits are just real harsh. The next day, Parfait reveals that the man only suffered minor head injuries. She said that she expects him to wake soon. I look at the tray of food in my hands. Annis has asked me to bring it up to the stranger's room while she finishes the rest of her cooking. Lucette, thinking to herself, I would never have been asked to do this in the palace. Delora. Goodness, what has that poor tray done to you to deserve that look? Lucette, silence. Delora. I must say that it's odd to see the princess doing something nice for someone. Lucette. What do you want? Delora. I have something to ask the man that was brought in last night. Seeing as you're being good enough to deliver breakfast, I thought I'd just tag along with you. Lucette. If you're going, just bring this tray up yourself. Delora. You are not in any position to delegate your duties to me, Miss Lucette. Come on, our guest must be famished. Seeing no way out, I followed Delora to the spare room the man had been put in. Man. Come in! I thought the man would have been old, but to my surprise he looks young, probably in his early 20s. He seems lost in reverie as he stares at a small notebook. Delora. Good morning. Good to see you're awake and breathing. The man looks up at her when she speaks. The instant he sees us, his eyes widen. Man. Silence. Lucette, thinking to herself. Why is he staring at us like that? Man. Am I dead? I'm glad I will not have to be doing Rumpel's voice this entire brood. Also, we're circling back around to Rumpel before he learned a dang thing, which means he's gonna be a little annoying. Lucette. Silence. Delora. What? Men. I'm in heaven! Or maybe you two are angels that have fallen out of it? Lucette. Silence. Delora. Silence. I see. Man. What can a humble gentleman like myself do for you lovely ladies? Lucette. Silence. Man. Ah, you can join me on this bed. It's very comfortable and there's plenty of room for the both of you. Delora. I'll follow your lead on this one, princess. Man. Princess? Ah, of course. Such a beautiful lady could only be a princess. Look at the noble way you hold up the tray. I know this is the correct answer, but it's also the only answer I want to do, because I just keep wanting to actually throw the tray at him. Yeah, Artemisia, like, you're not wrong to put it that way. Yes, I romanced that. To his credit, he is also a doctor, and a very altruistic one at that, and when he and Lucette start getting closer and, like, getting to the point where they're dating or, like, moving towards dating, and she indicates that him flirting with all the women excessively makes her uncomfortable, he stops. And it's like, he never figured out why it was bad in the first place, but at least he stopped. So those are the most redeeming qualities I can say for him, that he actually did stop the over-the-top flirtation when someone he cared about wanted him to. And the fact that he was a really altruistic doctor, well, to a fault, but, like, being altruistic is not a bad thing inherently. He just had to learn how to balance it a little. Anyway, we're going to at least want to throw the tray at him. Lucette. Can I throw the tray at him? Delora. I'm tempted to let you. Man. Feisty as well. Oh, be still, my beating heart. Yeah, Starmie. I mean, I don't know. I actually feel like Rumpel, it would take a lot for Rumpel to go back to Bria. Like, you know, he said himself, he doesn't love her anymore. Like, so I'm not sure if he would go back to Bria. Anyway, that's referencing the previous route. But Artemisia, if you're curious to see how that route goes, you can watch my VODs. Anyway, feisty as well. Oh, be still, my beating heart. Delora. Huh? Lucette. You. Parfait. Oh, he's awake. Man, shocked. Another lovely lady has entered my chambers? I don't think my heart can handle the perfection of the three of you at once. Parfait. Silence. Delora. I think I know how Casanova here got those head injuries. Some lady decided she'd had enough of his rubbish and wanted to punish him. Parfait. Delora, patience. He may not even be in the right state of mind right now. He did take injuries to the head, after all. The man finally stops to look just at me. He narrows his eyes and stares so hard I almost want to slap him. Lucette. What? Man. You're familiar. But no, it's impossible. Aren't you the crown princess? What are you doing here? Lucette. Shocked. Parfait. If he knows, then he's... Delora. Well, he's definitely not a witch or a fairy. Can only mean one thing if he recognizes the Ice Princess. Parfait. What is... wow, sorry, I was about to read it in Rumpel's voice. That would be weird. Parfait. What is your name, good sir? Man. Shocked. I would answer any question you ask of me, madam, but... The man looks down at the notebook in his hand. I don't remember. Parfait. Silence. Delora. Amnesia? Man. I know everything about Angielle, and yet I don't know the first thing about myself. Except that I have the Rumpelstiltskin curse. Lucette. Rumpelstiltskin? Is that a fairy tale? Delora. I knew it. He's got the fairy tale curse. Man. Fairy tale curse? Parfait. Do you remember how to break it? Man. Silence. From what I remember, I need to somehow collect 3 memories and get them to appear in this journal as entries. Oh, yeah, Artemisia. I think this is Artemisia's very first time watching any of this. At least this is chapter 1, which isn't the prologue, but is still, like, very kind of explaining what's going on. He shows us the notebook he's been holding onto since we entered the room. Men. My first memory is of waking up and holding this. I thought that there would be information in here, but it's empty. Parfait. Another victim of the curse. You must be tired. Lucette will leave your breakfast here and will give you some time to yourself. We'll be outside if you need anything else. Lucette. Silence. Parfait. Rumpelstiltskin. Lucette. What is that fairy tale about? Delora. Silence. Delora does not do a good job of hiding her laughter. She snorts, and I cross my arms, embarrassed. Lucette. Mother burned the fairy tales in the palace before I got the chance to read all of them. Delora. Fine, fine. I'll keep it short. Once upon a time, there was a girl that was said to be able to spin straw into gold. The king found her and locked her up in a tower. He said he wouldn't let her out until she had turned all the straw in the room to gold. But the girl was just a regular human girl. She knew she would never be able to turn the straw into gold and feared that she would be locked up forever. That was when an odd little man appeared before her and offered to do the job for her if she gave him something in return. The girl gave him her necklace, and the man spent the rest of the night spinning the straw into gold. However, the girl wasn't released. The second night she was given more straw to spin, and the little man appeared once more. This time she gave him her ring. On the third night, the king ordered her to spin the straw one last time, and if she did, she would be released and made his queen. However, that night the girl had nothing left to give the man, so they made an agreement. He would spin the straw into gold for her so long as she gave him her first child. Parfait. I personally never understood why the girl would want to marry the king in the first place. Delora. Hush, I'm trying to tell a story here. Parfait. Silence. I mean, Parfait's not wrong, I'll grant. And also, it's true, Artemisia, the game is free on Steam, and it's really fun, and if you like this style of game at all, I super recommend it. Delora. Years pass, and the queen finally gave birth to her first child. That night, the odd little man returned and demanded his due, but the queen didn't want to give up her child. The man then said that he wouldn't take the child if the queen was able to guess his name in 3 days. The man's name was Rumpelstiltskin. Lucette. Did she guess it? Delora. Oh yeah. The night before her time was officially up, the queen was drawn to the forest by the sound of a little voice. She saw the little man celebrating his upcoming victory, singing about how nobody had or ever would guess his real name, which was Rumpelstiltskin. Lucette. He does not sound particularly smart. Delora. So agrees the general populace. Parfait. Sometimes I wonder how Hans was able to come up with such tall tales. Well, the Marchen is opening soon. I expect another busy day. Delora. Especially busy for you, Lucette. You need to start coming up with good deeds. Lucette. Silence. Alright, Oh, fair enough, Artemisia, if you like Long Live the Queen. It's similar in a way, except that the choices are more linear, and it's like, basically, it's because it's a fundamentally more of a dating romance game, you follow the path for the romance interest. And, like, I really liked Rod's route. Karma's route starts off a little weak, but then really grew on me by the end. Rumpel's route, the beginning was kind of suffering, but the latter half was pretty... not as good as the other two, but still pretty fun. And I'm going to be playing Fritz's route. Fritz and Waltz's route are super spoilery, so they don't get unlocked until you've done... I don't remember if it's at least 1 or at least 2 of the other 3 routes. I think it's 2, actually, but I, of course, have wanted to go in story order, so... And if you do want to go in story order, and story order is just, like, least spoilery to to most spoilery to the final one being the true end. And that's like Rod, followed by Karma, followed by Rumpel, followed by Fritz, who I'm playing now, followed by Waltz. So, anyway, right, and I am going to end here for today. But I will be picking up next week from here in the latter half of Chapter 1, and then we'll also be going into Chapter 2, which is a really short chapter. And I'm doing it this way just because, like, compared to the length of the other chapters, Chapter 1 is unusually long, and Chapter 2 is unusually short. So I'm just breaking Chapter 1 up into 2, and then, like, into 2 parts, and then mixing Part 2 with Chapter 2. So we'll be picking that up next week, and Chapter 2 is where you actually choose a route, so we'll get to actually start to see some new content, hopefully. So that'll be exciting. Oh, Ice Starmie, Long Live the Queen isn't actually, it's a visual novel, but it's not an otome game. There are romance options, but, like, the main focus is not on the romance. So it's Long Live the Queen is like a bunch of really complex, branching story paths. So the story can just look totally different depending, and it's like, it's got the main character has skills, and there's like skill checks you have to pass. So you get to make choices, but the choices are also influenced by the skills you have. So it's a fairly complex one, but it's still a fun visual novel, in my opinion, anyway. Anyway. Right, so like I said, I'm gonna call it here for today. Thank you all very much for hanging out. Pow, Ice Starmie, and Art of Media, and anyone else who might have been lurking or who might be watching this later. Oh, Ice Starmie. It's sort of hard to say. It's, back on Long Live the Queen. It's multiple storylines, arguably, but it's all sort of one path. Like, it's, the main character is the Crown Princess, and she's trying to learn, and she's trying to get through the last 30 or so weeks before she becomes queen. And so there are some events that always happen, but there are a lot of events that either happen or don't happen depending on the choices you make. So it can look it's the same basic premise, but the storyline itself can look pretty different depending on the choices you make. And I don't know, I think it's really cool. So, right. So, all right. Like I said, thank you everyone very much, and I should be back at it next week. And I believe my next stream is actually going to be on Wednesday, and I'll be streaming the next part of Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. And I will, of course, be back with Cinderella Phenomenon, as usual, this time next week. So, alright, have a great day, everyone, a great rest of your day, and I will hopefully see folks at a later stream. Bye!